sweet. Looks like we're rocking here. Yeah. God, I have not been able to get started fucking working today. So I figured maybe if I did a stream, it would help me focus a little bit. But let's see what kind of joke that winds up being throughout the course of this shit here. Yeah, I guess I have things that I should be doing. So right, of course, when we have things we should be doing, we're often doing other sort of stuff, right? Not the most responsible thing, especially when I think about the students. But I finally got a nib for my pen here. It's a, I don't know, zebra G nib or whatever. But I have not drawn with it in years. Clearly, I forgot how to make sure that I didn't wipe my hand in it. But even this is just a little bit of practice. But while I was doing it, you sort of see the fuck here, and then you see the uppercase, lowercase alphabet sort of following along. And then it bends up at the top right corner and kind of follows down the right side of the page and swoops along the bottom and eventually does a curl before it gets to our WXYZ here down at the end. But I make these things, and it's not that I think it's particularly good. It's just that I think sighted people sometimes appreciate my handwriting, but it's hard for my blind and low vision friends to do the same. I am always down to do addresses and happy birthdays, but there's something that's hard to appreciate, and it makes me, when I do this art, it sort of makes me think about how a blind or low vision person could experience this, or ways to do that. So I've been experimenting with some things, and this wound up becoming a notebook that Sal from Gadfly wanted me to share. So if we go and kind of bop into the notebook and see where that's at. The first picture I've got here is this sort of color picture of an annotated figure. Because I thought maybe if we annotated this, then there would be some tactile ways that somebody with a screen reader could go and experience this. So if we go down to the actual image here, which is it's a table with the image in the background, but then I have the annotation points overlaid on top of it. Man, I didn't realize I needed to talk about this so bad. I need a second to think. Be right back, guys. Never take bong rips before you got started. Do it after you get started. Otherwise, you'll never get started. But anyway, as we continue along here. So, what I love about this is that if I go back and I start showing this on my phone, so let me go and, God damn it, I'm so sick and tired of these political emails and shit here. But if we let's see, how's this look? Alright, that glare's pretty nar there. Let's see if we can yeah, that's much better, isn't it? Oh, that looks actually very cool. I wish I could get rid of, there you go, that's gone. Now it's gone, but it wants to come back. Alright, anyway, this is our figure here. And what I was sort of oh my god, your scroll's busted. But if I had a little more control over this, anyway, I don't have the control that we'd like. All right, now I know, understanding how to move it. But I'm gonna go and I'm gonna turn on the screen reader.
Voiceover on. Firefox. Toggle navigation. Button. Navigation. Landmark. Landscape.
So,
Button to the right.
what I was hoping for is to have this
Page 1 of 2.
screen,
Cat D. Page 6 of 15.
the screen reader interaction where if I'm
Height. Column header. Row 1. Column 5.
so now when I drag onto
Height. Fuck. Cat G. Fuck. Cat H. Fuck. Cat G. Fuck. Cat G. Fuck. Cat G. Fuck. Cat fuck. Page 2 of 2. Page 7 of 15. Cat B. Cat A. Cat B. Cat C. Cat D. Cat F.
I realized when I was doing this that I forgot the E, but then we can
Cat U. Cat K. Cat L. Cat M. Cat N. Cat O. Cat P. Cat Q. Cat R. Cat S. Cat S. Cat T. Cat U. Cat V. Cat W. Cat X. Cat X. Cat Q.
So I'm super
Portrait. Voiceover off.
duper happy to get. Oh man, I should have cranked the brightness a little bit more there. But let me try one more time here with the. Make sure the mic's very close.
Voiceover on. Firefox. Fuck. Cat A. Fuck. Cat A. Fuck. Cat B. Fuck. Cat C. Fuck. Cat S. Fuck. Cat T. Cat fuck. Cat T. Cat S. Cat T. Cat U. Cat Y. Cat S. Cat B. Cat Y. Cat fuck.
So
Cat fuck.
now, to me, this experience it just adds so many dimensions to what we're doing. When I think about this drawing, when I think about the paper, like if I gave it to somebody and they had the paper in their hand, they could lightly touch it and feel the ink at least, because we're actually using metal nib, and like I said, I haven't been up doing this for a while, and then we're also using some Yasutomo traditional ink. This is like the extra black, golden black one. It's really great. Lays down thick. I will put some water down on and mix it with some water to make it pull longer lines. But I can't really think of ways aside from like rope and sewing that would be tactile ways of doing this. We could think of sculpture and 3D printing, but again, all of these things require devices that not everybody has, right? But so if I can capture some interesting things in the alphabet, or in these if I can capture interesting information in these drawings and structure it properly, then I think I can make really fun, interesting experiences, right? Like this is the first time I've ever achieved this sort of approach of, I've wanted to do this for a while, so I didn't add much complexity, but I could go and talk about what I was thinking about when I was drawing each letter, and talk about how the D intersects with the F, and how the fuck is framed with these like swirly flourishes that kind of wrap around some of the existing flourishes and kind of squares out the F word. As you follow along and you play the game, you eventually realize that this alphabet is so wrong. Once I lost the G and I put the F, I was just like, well, I fucking screwed this up already, so that's why there's a fuck in the middle of there. But anyway, like I said at the top of this, they're the most common things I go to. But the thing that's super interesting about this technique, I tried a different technique before. What did I call it? So I did a different version before this, and it was on the 30th. So let's see if this is the one. Now this one here uses a map pattern. So map is a MDN map element. So map and area are these special ways that you can kind of like slice up an image. So you can go and say that an image has a map that it uses, and then you define the map. So that's what this does. And what I really loved about this is that this is when I appreciated that, oh yeah, you're going to get, now you get tab interaction with this. I can actually tab through the alphabet and, you know, sort of follow it, which is what I've been trying to get to in CSS. But nevertheless, with this technique, I didn't get the same kind of tactile ability with the screen reader, right? So if you're not familiar, that screen reader experience, when I'm touching it, there's haptics, and it's just because I used the right HTML that I all of a sudden get these like audible and tactile experiences. So this post kind of goes through. This is not the one that we should be looking at. This is the area one. So this didn't work, but it did bring in this idea of tab navigation, right? So now that we can actually tab through the alphabet too, which is fun because like usually when you're tabbing, it's, you know, carriage return, left to right, linear, but this one kind of bops up and down and sways and stuff like that. So again, it's making me think a little bit differently about how I might present these two media next to each other. You know, this is a very simple technique that we get a lot out of. But it's probably worth actually highlighting where this image came from. So if we go down and look at the source code and actually just do this instead, there's a tool available. Okay, do I not have a kernel? Okay. Seems like it just like doesn't want to work right now. We're gonna just do a quick refresh, then we'll be able to party. Neat. Okay, so display still there. All right, great. So now this here is actually a widget, right? So we can go and remove say we want to remove that one, or we wanted to remove that one, or we wanted to remove that one. So I actually went forward and I was like, okay, so what I do is to get that, I would click that button and then I can go and select here. So this is a tool called Jupyter Bbox widget. I found it on the Jupyter discourse Bbox Jupyter widget for annotating images. Yeah, pretty cool. It worked for me. It worked for what I needed to do because I already knew what letters were in here. So once I did that, so one of the things I did learn real fast was that it was super important to have a file saving the bounding boxes, because if that isn't supplied, then it's just empty. You gotta redo it every time. So that sort of forced me to go and use this like. So I just use pandas to read and write to everything, and then here we use pandas to go and turn the bounding boxes into a data frame. And I have a tool that I'm working on personally to improve the accessibility of tables and their usefulness to blind and low vision people and screen reader users, and just folks in general. So that gives us the table that we're showing. So if I was to just show you what the string of this looks, nope, that's not the one you want to see. Print, and then we're going to say region. So yeah, this is a section with a table inside of here, and the image actually isn't included in this place. So if we were to go and get rid of this styling and this styling, then we don't want that. We want our table. So now this is actually what is in the DOM or in the document is this table here. But when we go and add this layer of CSS positioning, this gives us the bounding boxes. And then when we go and add this layer here, it gives us the background image. And this is a pretty short literate program that I had a lot of fun making. But yeah, I'm really excited that this experiment has yielded the results that I thought it might. Increasingly, I've become very, very bullish on this idea that tables are quite possibly the most accessible thing that we have here. And let's see. I'm curious, man. I know my blogs. This thing's actually not building right now, which is super funny. Whatever. It's been working for a lot longer than it probably should be. Yeah, no, this is one of the examples that I've been working on. And the idea is that we should be able to sort of like progressively enhance a table to a visualization. Like oftentimes there's already like so much data on the page, right? So if we were to go and like get rid of all the columns, now we've got like a scatter plot here. But if we went and got rid of the y-axis, now we can see along the x, which is the minimum and which is the maximum in x. And these are the row values here. And then at this point, we can go and just get back to basic ass table. So all of these visualizations are just based on progressively. So we want to plot x versus y. I love the movement, and then you add a little bit of z there. I really think that there's something to this sort of agency and ability to like look at visualization. Like it should matter more what the table representation is than what some unartistic person might have decided for you. A lot more of data visualization is about being inside the data. We don't want that. Want this though? No, we don't want that. Yeah, we don't want that. We want this one. Yeah, so there's this sort of idea, more agency, right? So at this point, what's really cool is that if I'm a screen reader user, then I actually remove a lot of noise from the page at the moment that I have these full screen things here, and it helps for ADHD and maintaining focus. But there's something, I don't know, I just am really charmed by finding overlooked value in things. I think that there's a lot of overlooked value in understanding how to properly make tables here, and they're also great to talk about, but they're more a tactile element, right? So this is how the data science oh shit, there's my face. This is how sort of the data science and the calligraphy overlap. Like I figure if we push the art as far as possible, then we have to think about not just what it looks like, but what it sounds like and what it feels like. If we push that, then we have to like really start to think about how we're going to improve the sensory experience for blind and low vision people, for deaf people, for blind deaf people. I think that there's a lot of opportunity for development, creativity, sort of compassion here. This is some calligraphy that I had done, but I was kind of thinking that maybe I would spend a little time doing an index card for the I like index cards. I really recommend index cards. They're nice. They're kind of like making your own trading cards, you know. Like if you have ideas and stuff like that, you can move them around super duper easily. Let's see. Still trying to get a hang of this this rig that I set up. My wife's away, so I stole her shit. All right, so we've got an ink guy here. I don't know how it's gonna go. Let's get some ink going, and yeah, I think so. As far as the course goes, there's an overview that I've like been working on, and sometimes I'm like, oh well, if you can get like an idea down to a page, you know, half a page, index card, you know, then you sort of understand things. So I guess my way for bringing some understanding to what we're about to do is drawing 6 or 7 words. It's easy to get lost in words. Never much understood why science papers had to be so long. Too many damn words. It's alright, I'm just looking for something here. Okay, so first of all, here's the index card. I made a mess earlier. I always make messes. Speaking of messes, I should probably roll up my damn sleeves here. Yeah, let's get some of this going. Yeah, I really, at some point we talk about setting up your OBS, but I really like this idea of having the videos. So if you haven't noticed yet, this is just a notebook that I made that gives me the video elements, but when I get picture in picture, I actually can like rearrange things on the fly, and I really sort of like that, especially because I'm a little persnickety. It's just I get busy, and I don't know why it happens, but it's nice that I don't have to get annoyed by things, or it feels like I have more agency when I do it. Yeah, cool. All right, let's just hope this doesn't fall. God, I'm such a mess. I'm trying to figure out what I really should put this into something nice. That'll do. It's sort of weird. Yeah, this is the ink in the cup. Anyway, so like thick. Need a little water. It's kind of like your computer's running a little sluggish. You gotta close some shit. You know, ink's gotta flow right. You gotta be able to think the right. Oh shoot! Gotta get a paper towel too. Yeah, no, this is helping me be a little bit more prepared to do these things. Paper towels are very critical. All right, let's see. Yeah, this is a much better feel for me right now. Cool. So, I don't know. I think like my whole mission here, the whole first week is oh yeah, it's already getting everywhere. I love this because then like I clean my clothes and there's still messes from this one stupid thing I did to fuck it up. But anyway, the first week is all about literacy, and there's a lot of history of literacy over centuries that we can pull from, right? So which is really cool is like there's centuries of people who have had to learn to read and write, And there's centuries of time where people have struggled to do that. And I think one of the things is that, yeah, we have a lot of time to read, but to have dedicated support for writing is kind of the main goal of the course. Now, the other thing that we really want to do is think about media. We're going to think a lot about media, because that's another thing that connects us over centuries. Specifically, well, actually, let's, how about we do it this way? We'll have a little fun with this one. So, let's drop a little media here. Some of what we're going to do is, like, really try to break free of our assumptions, right? Right now, I think, like, science struggles because, like, the written word doesn't, like, capture all the data and all the experience and all different kinds of people's experience, right? So, this calligraphy practice is nice, right? Because it makes you take a break. It's not, right, like you're coding. So, like, I try to blend these practices. And when I think about what we're trying to achieve here is, like, I really want people to feel like calligraphers. You write some beautiful code, write something that makes you happy. It's cool, So the second week's hypermedia, and then the third week we start thinking. See, this is how it all goes. But anyway, why not? How about we go and. Great. Let's not waste it. Nice. We'll add a little bit more texture, right? And at some point, maybe you print out your notebook for the third week of collage. And this is really this idea of making notes and combining media. It's hard to be original these days, but we're all trying to learn our special way, right? And, when we think about our knowledge, it's really a collage of stuff. But, like, ultimately, you might say it's a collage of ideas, but, like, really it's a collage of media. And we want to find, like, a better way to capture that. When you write some code, like, oftentimes it's a collage of ideas, and the medium for it's text. So this concept of collage really helps us connect the digital to the physical, and it might be very appropriate to even connect the hyper part there. We're going to recommend concepts like where the hell did I think of? Like, you do some. What if you had a 3-page document and you made it into a piece of origami? How pretty might it be? So, maybe we'll get things from the class that sort of jump out of the page. So after this, now it gets super fucking boring. And we start talking about my favorite part, which is testing. Like, this whole time, we're going to be learning how notebooks are a sort of unique medium for blending all of these things together. And, like, the collage parts really helps us experiment with the blending. But through this time, we'll get used to working with computational notebooks. Hell, some people in the course might even decide, hey, bullet journaling is my new jam. And that's the way I want to capture my thoughts. But then maybe we'll suggest making QR codes of stickers, so that you can refine your notes. But when it comes to testing, oftentimes we use notebooks because we want to test an idea. So we're going to figure out how that's extra special. And following that, we talk about styling and personal branding. So I'm going to put, how about aesthetics? So at this point, we've really done a lot of writing with text. When we draw with code, we've got this input text that turns into these visuals: video, audio, text, pixels, things that dance, things that don't. So around the 5th week, we'll start talking about aesthetics. Your brand colors, your brand identity, how to separate these things. One of the things that's hard is oftentimes we can't separate like the tool we're using for blogging from the content, right? So the first weeks we're going to really focus on content, and towards the end we're going to start to figure out how it all comes together for the very special opportunity to demo. The last day is all about the demo. What's amazing about this literate programming approach is it's for the fucking future. It's not for anybody. It's so that it's there when you meet the right person. So, the last week, we're going to take some things that we've drawn, some programs that we've written, and we're going to share them with each other. We're going to record them. We're going to learn how to use open source tools to do all of this, because in the modern future, it's not just about writing. It's going to be, if you are having a hard time getting a talk, maybe you're just going to fucking record it yourself. So let's have that shit ready. And I want you to realize that the hurdles for it are slightly low, but all of them kind of build to your whole persona. So at this point, we've spent the first 3 weeks sort of expanding the way that we think about programming, more from the idea of things that are fun to read, things that are fun to write. And then in the last 3 weeks, we start to focus on, all of this sort of applied together, because in the first few weeks we'll have written a bunch of stuff. We'll have critiqued some things. We'll have learned to make space for our writing. We'll find that there are people there to listen to us. And then we start to put it all together so you have something to take away with you. Now, one of the offerings that we're challenging ourselves with is afterwards. What do you get out of most courses? Some dingus certificate? We're gonna try and get you a DOI, and this is up to you. Okay, so after the course, for about a month or so, we're gonna work and we're gonna take all of these things that y'all, might have created during these 6 weeks, and we'll work with you for about a month or so. And then we'll start to put it all together. And with the ways that we've done it, we'll wind up having something where whoever chooses to participate in the extra bit has an authorship, they have a DOI, they have something they can actually go and sort of put on their resume. And hopefully it's sort of like a portfolio piece for people. But that's the publishing aspect of things. And it's super exciting that we get to work with Gadfly on this, because they've already been successful at publishing. So we'll be working with some people who are experienced specifically in open source publishing, and people who are active in open source, open hardware. It's sort of a very interesting and exciting concept. So for the folks involved in the course, you might leave with a DOI. It's pretty great. So week 1 is literacy. Week 2 is hypermedia. You know, I don't know if this is a spoiler, but let's see here. Herzog. So one of the I'm gonna back to tab. One of the Herzog, Ted Nelson, one of the guys that we're going to be talking about here, Ted Nelson. He's the gentleman who invented the terms for hypertexting. Oh, man, I'm talking and doing stuff left-handed is a surprising challenge. Okay, cool. All right, so we're gonna listen to TED Talk for a second about hypermedia, and then I'll try and remember that I was gonna finish going through these 6 words.
Times of speculative concepts of a connected world. In the early 60s, many years before the first Apple personal computer, a young thinker, Ted Nelson, had his own ideas about creating a computer network. The web as we know it took a different route, but Nelson's ideas are still dormant.
It was an experience of water and interconnection. I was with my grandparents in a rowboat in Chicago, so I must have been 5 years old, and I was trailing my hand in the water. And I thought about how the water was moving around my fingers, opening on one side and closing on the other. And that changing system of relationships, where everything was kind of similar, kind of the same, and yet different, that was so difficult to visualize and express. And just generalizing that to the entire universe, that the world is a system of ever-changing relationships and structures, struck me as a vast truth, which it is. And so interconnection and expressing that interconnection has been the center of all of my thinking. And all my computer work has been about expressing and representing and showing interconnection among writings especially. And writing is a process of reducing a tapestry of interconnection to a narrow sequence. And this is in a sense illicit. This is a wrongful compression of what should spread out. In today's computers, they've betrayed that because there's no system for decent cut and paste, and they changed the meaning of the words cut and paste and pretended it was the same thing. So a guy named Larry Tesler, whom I consider to be a good friend, nevertheless changed those words, and I consider that to be a crime against humanity, and he doesn't understand why, because humanity has no decent writing tools. In any case, this is the problem of interconnection and representation and sequentialization, all similar to the issue of water. So here we have a parallel presentation that shows a quotation connected to its original context. In the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth, and where is that from? That is from the King James Bible. So we can step down to the next quotation. Adam and Lilith immediately began to fight, and that is from the alphabet of Ben Sira. And so as we pull back, we can see successive pages coming up to connect with their sources or with their linked contents.
His vision of links never materialized. By some, he was labeled insane for clinging on.
There are 2 contradictory slogans. One is that continuing to do the same thing and expecting a different result is a definition of insanity. On the other hand, you say, if at first you don't succeed, try again. I prefer the latter, because I don't want to be remembered as the guy who didn't.
No, to us, you appear to be the only one around who's clinically sane.
No one has ever said that before. Usually I hear the opposite.
Thank you very much for talking with us.
Wonderful. Marvelous. What a team.
Yes, now it's your turn.
So it's with all these digressions that I plan to actually teach something. Anyway, we'll see if my focus ever if my focus succeeds well enough for you all. Anyway, very fun. Yeah, so we're at this point. We're going to learn to think a lot about hypermedia in this water context, perhaps. And then, Ted Nelson mentioned cut and paste, right? And I think we can connect that to collaging. I'll show some examples of my own printouts and sort of print and take a picture and print and take a picture and or print and digitize, print and digitize, print and digitize. It becomes fun. We can add different textures to stuff, just sort of like this ink here, right? Like, how would you get something natural like that into your work? We can figure out how to think about adding dimensions and things that really connect with people. So we do collaging, and then we start to connect it all together with testing and making sure that these things are good for a long time. I'm very confident that some of the demos that I've showed are going to be good for a long time. And then we'll talk a little bit about aesthetics, not specifically opinion, but how to do it, and some examples about ways that you can start to build yours. And then lastly, we go through this example of demoing and the optional publishing bit. So, yeah, I think at that point, I'm good with this. So Sal, I'm going to send this over to you, and I don't know, maybe there's something useful out of it. Thanks if anybody ever sees this. Be swell.